Hello again and welcome to the 1996 Tour de France, where the weather is again expected to play a major role in the running of this year's race. Last night, a heavy dumping of snow in Val d'Isère on the French side of the Alps caused the closure of many roads. This morning, race organisers had no choice but to reduce the course to 46 kilometres. It's the first time in Tour history that that's ever happened, so history in the making today. We have received a lot of calls from viewers wishing to know the progress of Australians. Patrick Jonker up there doing very well in 24th place, Neil Stevens in 104th position, and Scott Sunderland in 132nd position. The sun is trying very hard to break through here in Sestrières on the Italian side of the French Alps, but I can tell you it's very, very cold, and let's not forget, it is summer in Europe. Let's now go to the action. Your commentators, Phil Liggett and Paul Sherwin.
So what a miserable day for Evgeny Berzin to have to defend his leader's yellow jersey. He's 43 seconds ahead of Bjarne Riis, 45 in front of Abraham Olano. But in the top 6 now, there are some interesting new names. Looking further down, Miguel Indurain is 11th and looking to find 4 minutes and 53 seconds. The last rider in the race, more than 1.5 hours behind, is the Frenchman, Thierry Marey. And at the start in Le Monêtier this morning, it was back to basics for the top stars of world cycling as they made ready for the chilly outdoors by changing in the local football club. And I'm sure you'll understand if I tell you we're going to have some serious problems bringing you the pictures today, but the helicopters are trapped on the other side of the Galibier and the Iseron, and so everybody working hard to try and make sure this Tour de France goes on today and the stage is seen by all. And we're looking now at a very compact chasing group, and the man who has fled them, Bjarne Riis of Denmark. Here he is. We're on the climb of Mont Genèvre, and Riis attacks soon after the start of it. He has had a very definite plan today with the big mountains behind him. The Danish champion has decided to make this a very, very tough 46 kilometres. Luc Leblanc countering the move. And so, with 3 riders heading over the top of Mont Genèvre in this order, Riis has gone over 19 seconds ahead of Luc Leblanc. Richard Virenque is in 3rd place. Berzin and the rest of the leaders of this year's Tour de France approximately half a minute behind. So that was the situation over the top of the Col de Mont Genèvre, and now we rejoin the race here as they start the climb to Sestrières, the last climb of the day, and in the lead the yellow jersey of Evgeny Berzin as this group tries to hunt down the man who's broken clear, Bjarne Riis of Denmark. Evgeny Berzin should look concerned, as he most certainly does, because Bjarne Riis is still out in front.
Well, he does have a little bit of luck here as we're still getting that picture breakup. He's been joined on the descent by one of his teammates, Francesco Frattini, who is helping to of Sestrières here at the moment. But the last time check, Bjarne Riis was 34 seconds in the lead.
Well, we'll get a glimpse of Bjarne Riis, I'm sure, as soon as we can sort ourselves out, because this has been an unusually hectic day in the Tour de France today for everybody and not just the riders. But this is a very compact little group. An awful lot of riders on this very short stage have been blown out of the back of that big bunch. Here we have now Bjarne Riis, the rider who doesn't care whether it's 200 kilometres or 46. He is out to win the Tour de France for Denmark. This has been a very, very brave attack. Berzin knows it, and he's trying to limit his losses at the moment. But you know, if Riis continues at this speed, he could be the new leader tonight.
Well, he started the day only 43 seconds behind Evgeny Berzin, and what a day this is going to be. And this could well be the scenario for the next few days. All of these riders, Riis, Olano and Rominger, will feel that they can attack Evgeny Berzin. But one man who is in this group, just watching affairs at the moment, about 6 or 7 places back there, is the big figure of Miguel Indurain. And he knows what these riders have to do to try and take the yellow jersey. I think he's just going to watch affairs.
Well, you know, Paul, I know a lot of the British newspapers are saying that Miguel Indurain has lost this Tour de France. They could well be wrong. There's still an awful long way to go, 2 weeks yet before we finish, and Indurain, I'm sure, will have a better time in the Pyrenees than he's had here in the Alps. Berzin has no friends in this race. He is not a very popular rider amongst the professionals, and they're making him do all of the work here to bring back the Danish rider. Right behind him is the rider 3rd overall, Abraham Olano. Behind Olano is Tony Rominger. So 2nd place man is here up the road. 1st, 3rd and 4th are heading up the chase behind. And Bjarne Riis, this man, this very intelligent man, who has for the last 2 years been the champion of Denmark, really feels he can win the Tour de France. There's the world champion, Olano, in 2nd place. And as far as we know, the riders who went over the top of Mont Genèvre, Leblanc, Virenque, have been brought back into the fold. The brave crowd who are frozen who've waited here for the arrival of the Tour de France today. And now Bjarne Riis, the Dane, is heading up towards the finish, where there is quite a gaggle of Danish people with their flags waiting to welcome him if he should win the stage today. He's made the move. He had to make it early and break up the field on the climb of Mont Genèvre in the hope that he would get away on his own. He did. Berzin was with him the first time he attacked. The second time he didn't go with him. He sat here at the front of this bunch and we're just about managing to keep a glimpse of the yellow jersey at the head of the chase. A very select group it is too.
Amazing thing about Bjarne Riis is he's always a rider who has surprised us by the fact that he's come to the Tour de France in great shape. Last year when he came to the Tour de France, he hadn't had a victory until he took the Danish National Championships. This year he had an awful hard time through the early season classics and the preparation races as well. But again, the month of June, he came right to form by winning the Danish National Championships again and the Time Trial Championships.
And there's the face of Miguel Indurain, not quite the painful one that we saw on the climb to Les Arcs, looking more like the settled Big Mig that we've always come to see in the Tour de France. He's riding behind Laurent Dufaux there in the blue Festina jersey. And there's the gap, 40 seconds. Well, give him 4 more and he will be the new race leader of the Tour de France. Bjarne Riis is throwing the gauntlet down here. There's still more days to come, of course, in the Alps. This isn't the end of it by any means. Mont Genèvre, we came over today, by the way, was a second category climb. We go back the other way tomorrow, and it's a first category climb.
It's a very tough climb from this side. It's a lot longer, and bear in mind the riders have to start from Turin before they get here to Mont Genèvre. But Bjarne Riis is in a great rhythm at the moment. 1 or 2 people may wonder what he's got over his knees, but what these riders do in the very cold weather conditions is wear kind of a woolen knee pad just to make sure they don't get any tendon problems around there.
And look at this, Alano has decided to give Berzin a hand. He's accelerated. I wouldn't say he's given a handball, I say he's accelerated. No, he hasn't. I thought he'd actually jumped away from Berzin after he felt he was cooked on the climb. But in fact, Berzin has recovered. Jan Ulrich right behind there. Udo Bolts, the teammate of Ulrich. The 2 boys in pink, lying 3rd and 4th. And I can't quite pick out the rods. Richard Virenque, who's in 3rd place now. Tony Rominger in the blue jersey coming up. We have a very small group here. The bunch of 157 has been left all over Mont Genèvre. The yellow jersey of Berzin, thankful for the help of at least 1 man in the chase down, because the others weren't bothering. Olano's dropped back into 3rd place. Rominger is 4th. Virenque is 5th. Ulrich is 6th in the straight line here. And there's 1 or 2 more riders slipping away down the convoy of cars as well, as this pace is really hot at the minute. The climb here is not terribly steep. It is a tough climb. It's around about 6.5%, but it is quite a long one, and it's an awful long way yet for Bjarne Riis to go.
Last time check just coming over the race radio. In fact, Bjarne Riis is the overall leader on the road at the moment, because his lead over that chasing group is up to 45 seconds.
So that makes him the overall leader of the Tour de France on the road. Now it's a question of come and get me. Bjarne Riis wore the yellow jersey very briefly last year. He took it away from his teammate Ivan Gotti, who is already out of this year's Tour.
There's Juan Fernandez from the Mapei GB team coming up alongside there. In fact, giving, I think, the nod to Fernandez, Gines, the Spanish champion, to knock it off and put Berzin under pressure. This stopped chasing now, the Mapei team, you see, and they've left all the work to Berzin.
Well, who wants to be the leader of the Tour de France, least of all today, because Berzin is alone, no team around him, nobody to set the pace, as in the years gone by, and indeed in this very Tour we've seen the teammates of Miguel Indurain setting the pace early on. He's got to do it all himself.
And as we look here at Bjarne Riis, it's interesting to note that we have this year 4 or 5 challengers to take the overall lead in the Tour de France, but not one of them has ever been in this situation as Miguel Indurain has over the last 5 years, when he has come to a situation where he's had to do all the work and support the weight of the race himself. And that is when it's going to prove the difference between winning the Tour de France and defending the title.
45 seconds is set on the board, so this chase group now knows, Berzin in particular, that yellow jersey is now out on loan to Bjarne Riis. There are those who say this man will not have the strength to see the Tour all the way to Paris in yellow. We'll find out, that's for sure. As now, Evgeny Berzin of Russia, left alone to set the pace, and all of those predators behind him waiting for him to tire, then they'll attack him. There's this big man from Denmark, Bjarne Riis, only once before, briefly a leader of the Tour.
No change in this gap at the moment, still 45 seconds. It's man against man. Evgeny Berzin trying to protect his lead in the overall standings, trying to pull back to this man Bjarne Riis, and you can get a chance again to look at the size of the gears that these professional riders are using on the climbs. Although it isn't that steep, they're still using the big chainring, which means these men are climbing with a lot of power.
A little welcome banner for Bjarne there. 5 kilometers to go, 3 miles for the Danish champion, who's peddling himself into the yellow jersey of the Tour de France today. This has been a superb Tour de France racing-wise. On a stage as short as this, they have really turned on the style today. They've blown the 157 riders all over the Alps, and it's only been in a matter of 40 kilometers that they've done that in. There is now the world champion on the road, won his title in Colombia last year, Abraham Olano, gone up now to give Evgeny Berzin a hand, because he too is slipping down the overall classification. Who would have thought, though, in the month of July, these men will be wearing gloves like this?
Nobody would. This has been a very strange climatic conditions on the Tour de France this year. It's cold. I don't think I've ever known the cold like this come over the Tour de France, and a lot of riders will be caught out because they will have been prepared for hot weather. They will be very thin. They will be well below 10% in body fat.
Under the 5 kilometer banner for the chase group, and Olano on the front looking across to Berzin. He's prepared to do a little bit of the front, but not too much, it seems. So I think he wants Berzin to come back and give him a hand. Also behind Berzin is Tony Rominger. Rominger is a man we should watch out for here, because he may well try to springboard to the finish and grab a few seconds before the line. Well, whatever you can think about Evgeny Berzin, he's not afraid to chase. He's worked very hard to try and limit his losses today. He's probably cursing himself too, because he was with Riis at the first attack, and then when they regrouped, he didn't go with Riis at the second attack.
Riis is extremely strong here. He really is putting the pressure on. Concentrated as he was in the time trial yesterday. Whenever he needs to and he feels a slowing in the rhythm, he gets out of the saddle to pull on the bars and then just get a little bit more power into that pedaling stroke of his.
And using the road well, going from apex to apex on the corners, the shortest route to the top at Sestrières. He's under the 4 kilometer banner now.
Well, in fact, as he goes under the 4 kilometer banner, the last time check is he's stretching out his lead. It's now 48 seconds on the road, so he's riding away from Evgeny Berzin, who is getting a little bit of help from the other two riders there, Fernando Gines and also Abraham Olano.
Well, it's absolutely phenomenal. As a man, when all of the people are totally committed, you can actually nudge his lead up to 1 minute. Bjarne Riis can just see peeping up through the mountains there, the tops of the houses at Sestrières. Here comes the yellow jersey, and keeping the speed up as best he can. Johan Bruneel is the rider off to the left of our picture. The rider who plunged almost deep down into the ravine on the first day in the Alps. Doesn't seem to have affected him at all mentally. He's riding absolutely superbly in this year's race. An attack by Luttenberger. This man who's come to his first Tour de France. Luttenberger goes under 4 kilometers to go. The gap is 52 seconds now. So the gap is opening all of the time. Luttenberger has livened it all up, and he's put the Spanish champion Fernando Gines in trouble.
Well, everybody was expecting attack to come, and Luttenberger is the best climber in the Tour de France this year, with the fact but Marco Pantani is not here. Luc Leblanc has decided to go now. They've waited for Evgeny Berzin to tire himself out.
Well, it's a paltry rider, Paul. I'm not sure it's Luc Leblanc unless he's taken his trousers off in the last few minutes. But I think it's more like Guiarini, and there he is. Giuseppe Guiarini, who rode very well in the mountains the other day. And now he's digging deep to try and slip away here. Remember, an Italian is bound to do well in Italy because they want the hometown support. But Luttenberger is bringing them back.
Well, in fact, you know, Evgeny Berzin offered a lot of efforts to try and pull back. He pulled back Luttenberger. In fact, as we speak, he's going off the back of this group now.
So the bunch again has put them in trouble, and Luttenberger is going once again. This little magic climber from Austria riding his first Tour de France. And you know, as Paul Sherwin said to me earlier today, what a team Carrera would have had if they'd have had their little magic man Marco Pantani here to ride alongside Peter Luttenberger this year. And that'll be a pleasure we'll look forward to next year.
For confirmation at 3.5 kilometers to the finish. In fact, Evgeny Berzin has been dropped by this group, and the speed that these climbers are going up here, I don't think he'll be able to come back. He will resist and try not to lose too much time, but he's in serious difficulty.
Well, this is an amazing Tour de France, but it looks as though we're certain now to have yet another new leader in the Tour. And it might well be that Evgeny Berzin may not find himself in the top 5 places overall by the time we get up to the top. This stage just 46 kilometers long. The counter-attacks by Luttenberger has brought the lead of Ries down to 40 seconds. But of course, it could now mean with Berzin being dropped, he's still the yellow jersey tonight.
Well, this is an incredible sight to see the speed that this man goes up hills. He reminds me very much of Marco Pantani. The style is very similar, the speed when he goes uphill. Richard Virenque as well, I think, will be looking to attack also a little bit later on. Information coming now that the yellow jersey was 55 seconds behind Bjarne Ries. So Ries at the moment still the leader on the road.
So Bjarne Ries is up and round the corner there in the green fields. And Miguel Indurain is hanging on to the tail of that forward leading group here. And in fact, he's moving to the left, and is Big Mig going to launch an attack, or is he just changing position? Is he warming up for a sprint to remind everybody he's still in? I think he is. Miguel Indurain is going. Indurain attacks now. What a great race we're watching.
And as Indurain attacks, Tony Rominger was going to the back of that group there and looked in a little bit of difficulty. Indurain has been looking. He remembers this climb for a few years ago. He had a hard time when Claudio Chiappucci won, but Miguel Indurain, Phil, is far from finished.
Well, I am wondering, Paul, perhaps you should always have 46-kilometer stages because the riders go so quickly. Indurain now, everybody launching their effort at the front of this group. It's as if there's now no real leader of this Tour de France. They all believe they're on the same level of fitness and that any one of them in the next few days could be the new leader. At the moment, it's Bjarne Ries who leads the Tour. Indurain himself trying to fight his way back into this race. There he is. He feels better every day. Saturday, Black Saturday for Big Mig, will soon be only a memory.
Well, that was a superb move. He waited and watched as the climbers attacked, as he always has done in the past, you know, and then he went to make his move. The killer move we saw him make last year on several of the top mountain stages was still here at the front with Bjarne Ries. He has about 35 seconds with 2 kilometers to go.
So another banner passes by, 2 kilometers it is for Bjarne Ries. He will not know of the drama again behind him today as rider after rider gives all, then falls back into that line. The yellow jersey we've lost sight of. He's certainly not in this group at all now, which still contains the wonder boy Jan Ulrich and his teammate Udo Bolts, and it is Indurain setting the pace.
Well, Tony Rominger did recover there. He went straight to the back of that group as Miguel Indurain accelerated, and then he managed to recover. And there you can see on the left-hand side in the blue jersey of the Mapei GB squad, Rominger, the man from Switzerland, has used all his experience to come back into this group.
And under the 2 kilometers banner, 36 seconds is the time gap now, so they're bringing Bjarne Ries steadily back into the fold. It may not be fast enough, though. Indurain in the lead, Rominger off to his right, tucked away at the back. We've got Guirini in yellow, Virenque is in the polka dot, and further up the slopes we have Bjarne Ries going to the crowd line now. They're in amongst the barriers, they know the finish is not far away.
Ries really has to keep chasing and forcing himself if he wants to go, and now this is going to be Leblanc. In fact, Leblanc has taken off those long leg warmers he had during the valley, and this is Leblanc trying to go through.
Well, goodness knows how he got them off with the pressure being the way it is right now, but Luc Leblanc, this is a very typical attack by Leblanc in the last couple of kilometers of a steep climb. He goes very, very well at such an occasion.
This is the difference between the style of Miguel Indurain and the pure climbers. You know what Indurain can do is just keep up a speed and accelerate slowly.
And so as we come up towards the summit, Bjarne Ries is still up the road, but Luc Leblanc is trying desperately to scrabble up to him. He's the only man to get a lead over the field at the moment, churning that big gear which we've become accustomed to see on Luc Leblanc. Remember his great climb up to Les Arcs where he was the winner. He's steadily gone up the overall classification. He would have probably been racing for the yellow today, but for the 2 rather heavy falls he had. Heading up towards the kite, coming up to the last kilometre. Bjarne Ries is beginning to sell out. The stage may be his. We'll have to wait for the time to see if the yellow is as well.
But what's more important to Bjarne Ries is to keep going, to keep the pressure on, because he needs to finish 43 seconds ahead of Evgeny Berzin to try and get the yellow jersey as well. But he doesn't look to me as if he's going to weaken. He's had a chance to look over his shoulders and see just how far behind the rest of the field are.
And let's not forget either, Paul, that Abraham Olano is only 45 seconds behind the leader. So it's going to be a tough old tussle, this one. There's Luc Leblanc. He's heading up to the kilometre banner now. And he's closing in. The gap between Leblanc and Bjarne Riis at 1 kilometre to go is 30 seconds precisely. Looking down to the group, they're going to be at 36 seconds.
Still, it's Miguel Indurain who's setting the pace. He's riding the climbs the way he knows how to. He's riding at his own tempo, waiting for the climbers to attack. He does not try to match their acceleration, but brings his own speed up slowly.
Miguel Indurain, well, if he wants to win this Tour de France, he must attack now. He can't defend any longer because he's lost too much time. He's in a very, very unusual position in a Tour de France, but he is certainly by no means riding like a man who intends to give up. He is going to stay there. Escartin and Udo Boltz hanging on for the life of a kilometre to go. Jan Ullrich has also given best there. The first time we've seen the young German in trouble. Bjarne Riis is going to win the stage, which he richly deserves. He attacked right out halfway up the climb of Mont Genève. There's a massive Danish audience also here at the summit. And of course, he's live on television back home in Copenhagen. He is a superstar. Bjarne Riis is going to hit the line. I think yellow will await him. The clock will tell us that very, very shortly. That mouth couldn't be much wider. It's as wide as the tunnel of Fréjus, where we all came through yesterday. Coming up to the line now, Bjarne Riis is going to zip up and salute the crowd. The stage is certainly going to be his, but will the yellow jersey follow? The riders are closing in on him all of the time. We're likely to see the little legs of Luc Leblanc in the top of our picture very shortly. But for now, we'll settle to Bjarne Riis, the winner of the stage. 46 kilometres today. It's done an awful lot of damage. Here comes Leblanc being chased by Richard Virenque. Guirini. No, Leblanc on the left, and now we've got Richard Virenque. Indurain tagged onto the back of him. The shadow is Tony Rominger. But Leblanc will cross the line. He will be 24 seconds down. Then Virenque. Miguel Indurain beaten by Tony Rominger in the sprint to the line. And then comes Udo Boltz, in fact. Jan Ullrich has hit the wall a little bit. So it'll be Udo Boltz followed by Frédéric Escartin. And then Jan Ullrich, and then Peter Luttenberger. The clocks are counting down. Where is Evgeny Berzin? The new leader of the Tour de France will be Bjarne Riis as the Maillot Jaune comes up to the finish. He must go down in record of having held it for the shortest distance. The Maillot Jaune comes in over 1 minute behind today. What an extraordinary stage, but we're coming to expect these types of stages now in this year's Tour de France. There'll be more to come of that, I am sure. The clock counts down. Evgeny Berzin is out of the leader's yellow jersey, and in fact, he will slip away a little bit in the overall classification, but he'll be back, believe me. Well, it may have only have been 46 kilometres, but what a race it was, and Bjarne Riis raced all the way to the line virtually on his own. He now becomes the new leader of the Tour de France. The yellow jersey of Evgeny Berzin passes from Russia to Denmark. The final confirmation of the stage today. Riis wins. 24 seconds later, the Frenchman Luc Leblanc. In third was Richard Virenque. And Bjarne Riis now leads the Tour de France over Evgeny Berzin by 40 seconds. Tony Rominger comes up from fourth to third. And Miguel Indurain continues to creep back into this race. He's now back up from 11th this morning to 8th.
Here's your chance.